5G shares are worth buying and paying attention to. The financial impact of ATT Verizon from airport snafu. What 5G stocks will get a boost as wireless networks are upgraded and more smartphones, laptops and internet-connected devices use this technology. Look for management commentary on company earnings call. Some analysts expect 2022 to be a big year for communications network infrastructure as 5G wireless service providers ramp up spending, and cloud computing giants are readying 5G infrastructure services. Led by T-Mobile US wireless firms are deploying 5G wireless services using high-performance, mid-band radio spectrum. But due to new interference issues involving aircraft altimeters, Verizon Communications and ATT have run into a hurdle in turning on mid-band 5G services near airports. The delay of 5G mid-band deployment at airports will not materially affect U.S. telecom company revenue, CapEx spending, or the economics of the investments already made in this next-generation technology, said Fitch Ratings in a report. Offering high-quality 5G high-speed internet service at U.S. airports is important, given the heavy use of smartphone usage at these locations. However, during the 6-month workaround, ATT and Verizon will be able to provide 5G services in the vicinity of airports using other bands of spectrum. This, combined with the low non-traveler population residing close to airports, will lead to a de minimis financial effect on ATT and Verizon. Meanwhile, ATT and Dish Network were the top bidders in auction 110 for 3.45 GHz spectrum. As it stands, many analysts view Apple as one of the best 5G stocks as wireless phone companies expand 5G mobile network. Investors focus on the semiconductor supply chain of Apple stock and the smartphone ecosystem. 5G wireless stocks. Metaverse coming? We expect Apple to introduce an augmented reality/virtual reality headset, either by the end of 2022 or early 2023, said Bank of America analyst Wamsi Mohan in a report. We view this technology as a game changer as it will enable many new applications which will require high-performance hardware and higher access speed. He added, "We now expect a stronger iPhone upgrade cycle in fiscal 2023 driven by the need for higher connectivity. Augmented reality becomes the killer app for 5G. AR and virtual reality are also expected to be part of the metaverse, virtual worlds enabled by digital technology." Facebook, recently rebranded parent as Meta Platforms, aims to be a metaverse leader. The metaverse, whether years or decades off, will give wireless network operators the chance to monetize 5G and 6G investment. In addition, the metaverse could open up new opportunities for investors in 5G stocks and, down the road, 6G stocks. Chipmaker NVIDIA calls its development platform the Omniverse. Omniverse represents one of the most important initiatives for NVIDIA. It's about 3D simulation, 3D immersive worlds, and 3D e-commerce, Baird analyst Tristan Guerra said in a note to client. This creates a new massive use case for NVIDIA's GPUs in a new secular growth trend which will span decades. Meanwhile, 6G wireless networks will enable new holographic services, drive augmented reality applications and support the concept of digital twin. Best 5G stocks. Cloud computing. Cloud computing is expected to play a big role in deploying 5G services. The advent of 5G should mean the rollout of many new technologies we certainly haven't yet imagined, said economist Ed Yardeni in a recent report. To make them possible, the tech gurus are saying that cloud computing will move from a cloud server far away to equipment on the edge of a neighborhood's network. Edge computing should continue to increase the speed of data transmission, but carriers will have to open their wallets to make it happen. Microsoft on October 13 announced on a blog post that its cloud computing unit would start selling global network transport and routing services to 5G network operators. Microsoft called the initiative Azure for Operators. Microsoft purchased ATT's network cloud business. Amazon Web Services, part of Amazon.com, and Alphabet's Google are also selling 5G-related cloud infrastructure services. AWS in December announced plans to sell private 5G network services to enterprise customers. The AWS 5G in a Box service initially will use shared CBRS spectrum. In the long run, ITLL likely use Dish Network's 5G network. Verizon has partnered with AWS, Google, and Microsoft to develop 5G cloud services. A wide range of tech companies are building 5G ecosystems for private networks that deliver business-to-business services. Telecom industry group 5G Americas forecasts that the addressable market to incorporate 5G into private business networks will jump sharply over the next 5 years, to $16.9 billion in 2025 from $1.9 billion in 2020. In many industrial settings, 5G infrastructure is expected to displace Wi-Fi-based services. Best 5G stocks. Multi-year boom for chipmakers. Smartphones currently drive most demand for 5G chips from Qualcomm, Marvell Technologies, and others. Some analysts view Qualcomm as a top pick in 2022. Apple, Samsung, and Chinese Android-based smartphone makers are big customers of 5G chip makers. Those chip makers also include Skyworks Solutions and Qorvo. One issue for Qualcomm is that Apple and Samsung are building more homegrown 5G devices. Internal solutions from Samsung could become more prevalent. We could start to see Apple experiment with its own 5G in areas such as iPads, Morgan Stanley analyst Joseph Moore said in a recent note. Aside from Qualcomm and Skyworks, Cirrus Logic and Analog Devices also make chips built into smartphones. In China, Qualcomm faces more competition from local chipmaker MediaTek. Some chipmakers sell into the 5G network market. They include Marvell, Broadcom, Intel, Texas Instruments, and Analog Devices. Meanwhile, Xilinx makes programmable chips built into prototype network gear. 5G stocks. Look beyond smartphone supply chain. South Korea and China currently lead in 5G network coverage, while Europe lags. But China's big three telecom companies have slowed investments in 5G networks in 2021. Shares in Sweden's network gear maker Ericsson tumbled after the company forecast falling 5G market share in China. Also, Ericsson said some 5G wireless contracts that it has won in China may not be carried out. Sweden, like the US, has moved away from buying 5G wireless equipment from China's Huawei amid national security concerns. Finland-based Nokia is still hopeful of getting 5G wireless orders in China. In addition, Google is partnering with Ericsson in 5G app development. Google stock also belongs to the leaderboard, which features leading stocks that stand out on technical and fundamental metrics. 5G wireless mid-band spectrum key. T-Mobile has jumped ahead of Verizon and ATT in deploying a 5G mobile network using high-performance mid-band spectrum. In June, T-Mobile said its mid-band 5G network reaches 150 million people. In addition, T-Mobile expects the mid-band 5G network to cover 200 million people by the end of 2021 and 300 million by 2023. T-Mobile also plans to launch 5G fixed broadband services to residential customers. It's targeting 7 million to 8 million customers by 2025. Verizon's 5G network uses both lower band and high-frequency mmWave airwave. Verizon says its mmWave-based 5G wireless services, branded ultra-wideband, were available in parts of 64 cities at the end of 2020. Verizon aims to almost double at in 2021. 5G wireless networks will provide faster data speeds to consumer devices. Eventually, it's expected that 2-hour movies will be downloaded in 5 seconds versus 6 minutes on a 4G network. Even so, the growth of some 5G stocks depends on the emergence of new consumer smartphone apps. At Jefferies, chip analyst Mark Lipacis expects augmented reality apps, higher resolution video and cloud gaming to drive early 5G consumer demand. 5G will contribute $1.9 billion in revenue to cloud gaming by 2024, estimates AB Research. 5G stocks, enterprise apps could be revenue driver. In addition, 5G enterprise applications in smart factories and other business uses are expected to come into view in 2021. Pundits expect 5G wireless to have a role in manufacturing automation, cloud gaming, autonomous vehicles, drones and remote healthcare services. On the enterprise side, private 5G network services are expected to drive new business uses. Ericsson recently acquired Idaho-based Cradlepoint, targeting the 5G business-to-business market. Enterprise solutions could be the largest 5G revenue drivers, including factory and manufacturing, with telemedicine and health monitoring also new drivers. Raymond James analyst Rick Prentice said in a note. Satellite TV broadcaster Dish Network plans to start construction of a 5G network in early 2022. ATT in June said it would move its core 5G network services to Microsoft's Azure Cloud Computing Unit. In time, the breadth of 5G stocks will expand. The future of 5G wireless lies in the industrial Internet of Things, remote healthcare, drones and robotics, autonomous driving, smart cities and more. Cybersecurity firm Palo Alto Networks last year unveiled new security tools to secure 5G infrastructure and web-connected industrial devices. Palo Alto's product offerings enable end-to-end protection of 5G networks. For some 5G stocks, the long-term opportunity will be tied to new networks that blur the line between mobile and fixed-line infrastructure. 5G wireless, higher frequency airwaves require more equipment. Initially, 5G networks will utilize higher frequency airwaves in urban areas. As a result, they require more equipment, more cell towers and more fiber optic wiring than previous generation. Makers of fiber optic technologies also are part of the 5G wireless network supply chain. 5G networks will require small cell, radio antennas, radio access network equipment as well as links to cloud computing infrastructure. The global 5G radio access market will jump to $21 billion in 2024, up from less than $4 billion in 2019, research firm Omdia forecast. Further, 5G also is a long-term opportunity for network gear makers Ericsson, Nokia and Samsung. Cell phone tower operators American Tower, Crown Castle and SBA Communications also could get a 5G boost, analysts say. Crown Castle will be a 5G infrastructure partner of Dish Network. 5G networks require fiber optic technology. 5G networks will connect to fiber optic networks for long-haul purposes that will provide reliability for emerging automotive, robotics and medical applications. Potential 5G stocks to buy include Corning, Ciena and other fiber optic players. Only 19% of U.S. business professionals claim to understand the benefits of 5G, according to a Ciena survey done with research firm Dynata. 5G is much more than just a faster wireless technology, said Steve Alexander, Ciena's chief technology officer, in a new release. 5G enables constant connectivity for people, machines and devices, and is the infrastructure that the Internet of Things will rely on to create the cloud experience that we all need in our increasingly digital world. Crown Castle makes small cell radio antennas for 5G services in urban areas. The small cell antennas, hung on utility poles or building rooftops, will require fiber optic connections to local hubs. Local government approval, though, is required to expand 5G networks. Recife Research projects that there will be 1 million U.S. outdoor small cells by 2028, up 10 times from today's level. Keysight Technologies makes 5G network test gear. Keysight competes with Viavi Solutions and others in the 5G test gear market. 5G wireless targets broadband to home. Some telecom firms aim to provide fixed 5G broadband to home. That poses a long-term threat to cable TV companies, such as Comcast, that dominate in broadband services. Verizon has stated that it expects meaningful revenue from 5G wireless broadband services to homes by 2022. T-Mobile also plans to roll out 5G broadband services to home. Recife Research forecasts that within 5 years 5G broadband will emerge as a legitimate rival to cable's high-speed internet services. 5G networks also will improve latency, the lag time it takes networks to respond. That's crucial for applications such as autonomous driving, remote telemedicine and factory automation. 5G networks reduce latency to a few milliseconds from lags of 50 to several hundred milliseconds. Edge computing deploys data processing, storage and networking close to sensors and where other data originate, near the edge of the network. The goal is to process and analyze data locally in real time rather than send it to faraway data centers in the internet cloud. How 5G wireless will change cloud computing. That should be a big opportunity for chipmakers NVIDIA and Intel. Some analysts say NVIDIA and Intel were the biggest providers of data center processors for cloud applications. Many data centers in neighborhoods will link to cloud computing infrastructure. Nokia and Ericsson were developing 5G cloud gateways. Verizon in late 2019 teamed with Amazon to develop 5G edge computing services. More recently, it partnered with IBM, Microsoft, and Google. Spending to enable edge computing, also called multi-access edge computing, or MEC, is forecast to increase from $2.7 billion in 2020 to $8.3 billion in 2025, according to Juniper Research. With cloud software technology, pundits expect wireless firms to provide connections for drones and smart manufacturing. Dell Technologies, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, Nokia and others aim to capitalize on edge computing. Follow Reinhard Kraus on Twitter at @Reinhard_Tech for updates on 5G wireless, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity and cloud computing.